How are you?
What a disaster. You know, let's say this, bro. By the way, Evan Tiki, hello.
Hello.
By the way, okay, this is the worst run franchise in the NFL. I mean, let's be honest about it. First of all, the GM of the franchise is a guy who has done absolutely nothing for the franchise, and that's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's a joke that Nathaniel Hackett still has a job. I'm watching Pittsburgh's fires their offensive coordinator, Buffalo, but Nathaniel Hackett's okay because, Aaron Rodgers loves him. And now I'm hearing this story about Wilson. What a disgrace. You know what? Just goodbye. Well, I mean, that's it. There's no gray area here. See ya, Zach. What a disgrace. Bro. It's a disgrace.
Dude, he has been given 32 opportunities to start football games in the NFL.
Please.
He is lucky he's been given those opportunities.
Please.
If the Jets want to go back to him, and you even said it last week, you know what, at this point, go back to Zach. Yeah. He should run into the office and say, "Dear God, thank you for another chance to play football.
Please give me the ball." I mean, what else can I say? I mean, I don't know what to say anymore.
Do you not want to see him, Joe? Do you not want to see Zach any longer?
I mean, look, here's my thing, Teak. Look, I've said this, and I said this again to the coach today. I texted him earlier today. The guy that gives you the best chance to win, I hate to say it, you got to hold your nose, is Zach Wilson, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, Trevor Siemian stinks. Boyle, forget about him. I mean, he's brutal. And he was afraid to throw the ball down the field. Garrett Wilson's open. I mean, come on. All right? So Wilson gives you the best chance to win. But the bottom line is this. If he don't want to be here, then goodbye. That's it. You don't want to play football? See you. Go back to Utah. What do you want me to tell you?
So, Joe, did you hear Robert Saleh's press conference?
I did not. I have to say I did not hear it.
So, just to paraphrase a little, he essentially – I don't want to say he confirmed, but he did kind of confirm that Zach Wilson was having this conversation. Not that Zach was saying, I don't want to play, but with people around him were having this conversation that maybe he shouldn't because he could get hurt. And he referenced, the whole college kids, quarterbacks or whoever, running backs not playing in the bowl game because they want to protect themselves. Basically, Zach's going to be someplace else. Why get hurt about a putrid offensive line here in the Jets and just wait till next year and go try to salvage your career next year? If that's the case, and then Robert Saleh basically protected him. He said, yeah, but Zach came in, said that he wants to be the starter. He wants the football, but I, meaning Robert Saleh, am not ready to make that decision yet. I don't know why there's a decision to be made. Because Tim Boyle and Trevor Siemian aren't the guys.
No,
I think Zach might have benefited from taking a couple of weeks off and getting back out there. But if he really doesn't want to play, he doesn't deserve to be in the NFL. Forget being on another team.
No, I agree with you. Look, I mean, how can I disagree with that, Teak? I mean, he doesn't deserve to be here. I mean, that's really the bottom line. See you, and we'll just have to suck it up and, finish out the 10-game losing streak with the absolute garbage that's Boyle and Siemian. I mean, what else? But here's the thing. Okay, Zach, we get, whatever the deal is with Zach, fine. He don't want to be here. Get him the hell out of here. But how do these guys survive? Can you ask me this?
Rodgers.
But really?
Yeah.
See, you know what, bro? You know what? I'm tired of that too. Okay, so this guy who's done nothing, let's be honest, nothing for our franchise. He has done not a freaking thing. And he gets to call the shots. So we're sitting here, okay? We need a quarterback for the future, okay? Who knows? You think Aaron Rodgers is playing 17 games next year? Okay?
Wouldn't bet on it.
What's the over-under on this guy, 40 years old? By the way, I heard he had a pretty nice birthday party last night.
Did he?
He was sitting there suffering, while he's partying it up, okay? Please, all right? So this guy coming off an Achilles that's 40 years old, okay, has never done anything for the franchise, and he's dictating what's going on. And like I just said to you, do you think this guy's playing 17 games next year? Come on.
I don't, but I mean, I would love to see it because I think it would be exciting for the area. It'd be great for our show.
I want to see it too, of course.
Look, I didn't think he would play 17 this year just because of his age. And we've said this before, Joe, but we assume that guys can play till they're 42, 3, 4, 5. Tom Brady did it. That's it. Nobody else. Right?
But here's my point, though, Teak, that I'm trying to make, and I don't mean to be stepping on you, but
it's all good.
Here's the point I got to make here. We need a quarterback of the future. We're going to have a high draft choice. I think we're sitting at 7 now, and we're sinking fast, okay? There's a lot of quarterbacks out there that you can draft in the first round. We got to get one of these guys. And we're going to have Aaron Rodgers dictate to us that we can't draft that quarterback because that's not what he wants?
So,
come on.
Two things, because that last part you said, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. That is my red line, if you will. If I'm Joe Douglas and I'm still employed, I put my arm around Aaron. I said, Aaron, we love you. You're our quarterback next year, but you're not going to be our quarterback forever.
That's right.
We have this rare opportunity to draft a young quarterback. But here's the issue with the whole coaching thing. Because you're right. If Aaron Rodgers wasn't around, Robert Saleh, nice guy and all, loses his job. Mm-hmm. This is 2 collapses in a row. Even Joe Douglas. We could talk all day about all the talent he's added. He's built the worst offensive line in football. Yep. He's put together the worst quarterback room in football. And the Jets lose year after year after year. Yep. But if getting rid of them and blowing it up makes Aaron Rodgers say, screw it, I don't want to be here, what's our option? I almost think and then what?
Well, I mean, I
don't know. And then what do we do? Reset again for the 50th time?
Okay, well, I'll say this, bro. Then maybe for a change, maybe Woody Johnson can get it right with a head coach. And I don't know who that guy is. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Okay? I'd love to see Rex Ryan back. You know that. No, I would. I mean, I think Evan would too.
I have a soft. He'd be interesting. He hasn't coached in a long time.
Listen, I love Rex Ryan. Honestly, pound for pound, he's the best coach of my lifetime. Right. I'd even put him ahead of Bill. Yeah. Bill turned the franchise around, but Rex won more, if we're being honest, and he stuck around.
By the way, with Mark Sanchez, who's I hate to use the word butt of jokes for obvious reasons.
Yes.
With him as his quarterback.
With that said, I don't know if I'd really want to go back, but I'd rather take the 1 year. You know what? All right, guys, you guys were terrible. You guys are atrocious. 1 year. Rodgers is back. All in. Mm-hmm. And if it fails, well, then everybody's gone. Rodgers is gone. And then at least we can say, all right, this failed with Aaron Rodgers. I'd have too many regrets if this guy never plays for our team.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. You know what? Look, and I like Salah and all of that, but I find it hard to wrap my head around 4-13, a 6-game losing streak to end last year, a 10-game losing streak to end this year. I got a hard time wrapping my head around these guys coming back. I got to tell you.
No, it's a challenge because that is historically bad. I mean, right now what we're watching isn't just a bad team. Nope. They're a historically bad team.
Brutal.
They're so inefficient in the red zone. They're terrible on third down. I know they got screwed a little bit by the officials yesterday, but they also
a little bit.
Okay, a lot.
But that's everywhere. I mean, that's almost every game. You could just pick a random game in the NFL, and you're going to get the same thing.
The officiating in this league is a disaster. And Roger Goodell, while he's sitting there counting his $60 million a year, okay, it would be nice of him to fix it because these guys have too much control. They got more control over who wins the games than the players do.
Yeah, the officiating at the end of the first half was criminal. It really was. I mean, it was just –
joke.
It was brutal. But they don't help themselves out either. They're a poorly disciplined mess of a football team.
Well, when you hit a big fourth down, right, like they did to Garrett Wilson yesterday, and then you have back-to-back false starts. We can kill the officials all we want, but false starts are false starts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like an illegal contact penalty.
No, you're right. We're talking to the great Joe Benigno. The Jets lose to the Falcons, another pathetic loss, 13-8. We'll see if they go back to Zach Wilson, even though he's reluctant to play. When they got the safety, I thought of you because it was the great Ashton Davis, who you have to admit, Joe's made a couple of plays recently.
No, he really has. Ashton Davis has made plays, I have to say. Now, he shouldn't have been a third-round pick.
No.
But he has made plays, and he's a good special team guy, too. I will give him that.
But the killer was Dalvin Cook. Putting the ball on the ground, that turned the game around, man.
And you know what's funny about that, bro? I'm just getting ready to say to my wife, boy, Dalvin Cook, he's got a little jump today. And the words are not even out of my mouth, and the damn ball's on the ground. And you're 100% right. That turned the whole game around. That changed the entire game. And, of course, the defense, which played well. I got to give him credit.
Yeah.
But that's the one time they give up the touchdown.
Joe, I feel like every time month, it's all negative. Give me a positive. Give me something positive that we can look at for a week. For the Jets. Just find something positive. I need a positive. It's all negative.
The only positive that I can give you, Tiki, is that the defense is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. The defense plays their ass off. See, here's the one thing that you got to give Salah, okay? Yeah. Offensively, forget about it. I don't even know if he's doing anything with the offense, okay? I don't even know. And Hackett's just a disaster, okay? But you got to say that the defense is coached well, with him and Ulbrich. and the defense plays their rear end off for them. That's the one positive I'll give you. And the other positive is probably the 2 kickers because they're pretty good.
Yes, that's true. I mean, special teams and Thomas Morstead combined for those 2 points, essentially.
No, true.
The 2 kickers are pretty good, Teak. I'll give them that. You know what I mean?
When would you have pulled Tim Boyle? Would you have done it earlier or right when Saleh did it to start the fourth quarter?
Well, I mean, look, he threw that pick. I mean, I don't know where he was throwing that ball. You know, the first play of the game, I want to go back to the first offensive play. Now, I have been screaming that the first play of the game should be a play-action bomb. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it was.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And this guy didn't pull the trigger on the ball.
Joe, you know what's funny? It's because I was watching the Denver game. I have the Broncos this week. So I'm watching the Denver game that they played the Texans. So you guys play next week.
You got a nice game. You know, T, you've been getting some good games.
Yeah,
you get Jaguars, Houston. You get Houston, Denver.
Joe,
come on.
First 2 plays of the Denver game for Russell Wilson. Bombs. 2 bombs in a row. They weren't complete. They were incomplete, but he took them. As the first thing I thought about was, man, this is Joe's kind of play calling. Sean Payton calling it right.
But I'm telling you, Teak, the first play they didn't run. It was a play action, and you could see he was looking down the field.
Yep.
And why he didn't, and apparently because they never showed us a replay, Ev, we never saw a replay of it. Apparently, Wilson had single coverage down there. Why didn't this guy just throw it up for grabs?
Well, that's why yesterday Saleh said something, and it was the first time I actually agreed with it, even though Tiki's been telling me this for weeks. Mm-hmm. There were plays left out there if these quarterbacks were halfway competent.
100%.
Like if
100%.
Gardner Minshew, I'll just use him as an example.
Oh, God.
If he's here, even with this offensive line, even with, Alan Lazard being a complete zero, there are plays to be made.
Yeah.
They should not be a historically inept offense.
Well, this goes back to, you talk about Gardner Minshew. Now, this goes back to what I think is the biggest malpractice of anything, and that's Joe Douglas not having a legitimate veteran backup in case, disaster hit. And just saying, okay, Zach, just thinking, well, Rodgers will be all right, and we'll have Zach as the backup, and he'll never play. That, to me, is the biggest mistake made all year by this franchise.
No question. Now, it may not have led to a playoff season. No. It may not have led to a division, but we wouldn't be sitting here at 4-8 talking about another collapse.
Nope.
And that's why, you're right. It's tough. There's no coach that could survive a 6-game losing streak to end the season one year and then
10.
follow it up with 10 the following year.
You can't do it. I mean, how can you sell the fan base that this guy's coming back? I mean, I don't know what else to say. Is
your relationship with Robert Saleh text-wise the same, or does he, not want to respond anymore?
No,
Is he frosty?
All the time.
And he's...
Look, bro, last week I gave him a 6-part plan, okay?
How many of them did he institute, if any of them?
Well, I do think that they were throwing the ball deep on the first play, and I'm not taking credit for that.
So, Joe, I'm just re-looking at it because I wanted to see what it was. I don't think it was man coverage because it looks like it's 3 deep, but the safety commits down low. So it is kind of like man coverage. And if you have man cover, if your best receiver, I don't care what team you are, but if your best receiver is in a man look, so it looks like man, this one guy is trying to chase my guy, you throw that ball.
Of course.
95 out of 100 times, you throw that ball, unless your guy's just too far or deep or whatever, he falls down. Nobody throws the ball for the Jets. Zach wouldn't throw it.
Nobody.
Tim hasn't thrown it.
Yep.
Trevor Siemian really didn't get a chance to, but I doubt that he would have thrown it either.
Right. Yeah.
That's been the issue, is that they won't throw the opportunities. And so when you throw away the opportunity, you got nothing.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. By the way, I just going back to the coach a second.
Yeah,
I actually offered to script the first 15 plays on Sunday.
And what did he say? Did he say, I'll think about it?
No, I got an LOL back. Now seriously,
give me a demo. Give me a demo reel.
Could I do worse, Teak? Come on.
I mean, honestly, the first 15 is it's just something so the quarterback goes in not having to think.
I understand.
So honestly,
Bill Walsh.
I'm not going to say you could do it because that's insulting to offensive coordinators, but it's really the only reason you do it is so the quarterback's not thinking. It's like getting to a rhythm, right? This is what's going to happen. This is what defense we're going to expect because they, tendency-wise, they do this on first downs to begin games, et cetera, et cetera. It's just to keep a quarterback from overthinking the first drive or two, right? But despite that, these quarterbacks overthink every drive. Right. It's unbelievable.
Now let me just go back, and I'm going to say this because it's out there. I text the coach. He texted me the other day and gave me a litany of head coaches and what their record is without their quarterback and with their quarterback. Okay? I'm like going like Zach Taylor, Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. We go right on down the line, okay? By the way, Mike Tomlin's the only one that has a winning record when he doesn't have Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Okay? All right?
But who's his guy? Aaron Rodgers? Because for the first 2 years he was here, his guy was Zach Wilson.
Well,
so we don't count that as his record?
Right. I mean, I hate to bring this up, but this is I'm telling you, I got like a 2-page litany of all these coaches and what their record is without their real quarterback.
Yeah, the problem is it's crap. His real quarterback for the first 2 years was Zach Wilson. They didn't win.
But I think what he is saying without saying it
is I need Aaron Rodgers.
No.
What's he saying then?
He's saying Zach's not the guy.
Right.
That's what he's saying.
He don't like Zach. I can tell you right now, he don't like Zach. He don't like Zach because I'll tell you this. So when I did this 6-part thing that I put out there, okay, and one of them I listed them too, like by number, okay, and number 2 was him getting involved in the play calling.
Right.
I did put that. Number 3, I said you got to go back to Zach. So he texts me back. And I mean, he might get mad at me for this, but I don't care. He texts me back and he says, Joe, about number 3. Which was playing Wilson.
Right.
Are you kidding me? That's
Number 3.
He might have said, "Are you serious?" It might have been, "Are you serious?" But it was something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
And meanwhile, he's gonna have to go back to him
like that.
Yeah. Well, that's why he's sitting on the fence right now.
Yeah, you know what's unfortunate for him? Because I remember the other day, I don't know if you saw this, but a few weeks ago he was asked, hey, what would you do different in the draft process? And he said, evaluating a quarterback. I was like, I had my ideas. Mm-hmm. I've said that to Joe privately, and a lot of people took it as that's an admission of, I didn't want Zach Wilson.
No, he don't like Zach. I really believe that.
Wow. Me and Robert have something in common.
Yeah. Well, none of us like him.
I know.
The sad part is, and again, if he don't want to play, just get him out of here.
Yes. Yeah.
But the sad part is he does give them their best chance, of the 3 guys that are available at this point.
He does this year, Joe, but last year and the year before that, he did not.
Well, Mike White should have been the quarterback.
No, I know.
We can go back to that.
So does that lead?
They let Mike White go. They knew Mike White was better.
Yeah, but the problem is you can't go back and relitigate that.
No, I know.
Right? You know what I mean?
I said that then. This is not.
And by the way, you were right. You were right. You were correct. I think there's a reason that the team turned that direction, and so we're supporting Mike White.
Right.
Because look, here's the thing: if you've ever met or talked to Zach, which I have multiple times because I've done his games,
do you like him?
You like him. He is such a nice kid, like a good, you want to root for him type of kid. But there's an it. We always talk about it. It's an intangible that quarterbacks, really any successful athlete has to have. It's not there, and maybe it's the fire. Right, it's like this anger that just burns inside of people. Like it pisses you off when you get disparaged or you failed. Forget disparagement; you just fail when you do something bad or poorly. You get so upset with yourself that you just drive to get better at it. It's like he lacks that. You know what I mean? And so you like him as a kid,
right?
But you also see that fire's not there, man. And so. That's the only thing I can explain why guys tread softly around him, right? Because they like him, right? But they know that he's also not the guy.
But I'm going to say this, and I know this is an indictment on the coaching staff and all. If this kid would have been coached by some of these guys we're talking about, Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, these kind of coaches, I'm telling you, he's a lot better than what he's been.
I think
I think there's no doubt about that.
I don't think you're wrong, but I also think that goes for a lot of guys.
Right.
It doesn't mean he would have been a star, but he would have been more competent. He would have been better. It's like if Tommy DeVito, who's looked halfway decent, was being coached here, we'd hate him. We wouldn't be talking glowingly about him. I can't believe that you wrote a list to him and his response was about number 3. Are you kidding me?
Bro,
That's
I
hilarious.
swear to God, it was a 6-pronged thing. Okay.
And that was the one that jumped out at him, going back to Zach
That's
Wilson.
the only one he reacted to. Was, are you number
great.
Joe, about number 3, are you kidding me?
Number 3.
And meanwhile, I mean, the reality is, if I had to guess right now, don't we all think Zach Wilson's starting Sunday against the Texans? I kind of do.
I think he is.
I'm going to say no.
Really?
You don't think
Yeah.
so? You don't think so? So you think they're going to get rid of him? He's gone. You think he's gone?
I think there's a chance.
Can I ask this question?
I
One
think
more
there's
thing.
a chance, hold on, Joe, that he gets cut this week.
Oh.
Okay. But can I ask you, where did this come from, though? Who leaked this story out?
I
So
think
Di-
it's likely someone in Zach's camp that leaked it or was having a conversation with Diana Rossini.
Okay.
I mean,
it-
Rossini started it.
Diana
that's how we
Rossini
saw
and
it.
Zach Rosenblatt, who covers the Jets for The Athletic, and clearly the story's true because it's not like Robert Saleh went
Right.
out of his way
Right.
to deny it fully.
To diffuse it. Right.
But I think Tiki's right. I think there's probably people in Zach's camp telling him, screw the Jets. They treated you badly. You could get hurt. Let's just get the hell out of
Right.
here.
They've been doing you wrong every year.
And that's bad advice, quite frankly. You play in the NFL. I mean,
Of course.
go play.
Right.
Your number's called. You got to go out and play.
Right.
It is
Freaking
hard.
ridiculous.
It's hard to be a first-round bust somewhere else and make it in another place.
Yeah.
Right? Think of the
Yeah.
Josh Rosens of the world, the Mitchell Trubisky's. It's just really hard.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds good. You can go reinvent yourself someplace else. The problem is there's 20 kids coming out of college. There's 8, 12 free agent quarterbacks floating around. There's a lot of guys that are coming trying to do the same thing.
I am curious, Joe, if Saleh gets fired, like, what do you say to him in text message? Do you give him a sorry it didn't work out? Like, how do you
here's
handle
my-
that?
I will say this.
Yeah.
Here's my biggest fear with Saleh.
Yeah.
Right? Saleh gets fired, right? He hooks on with one of his buddies, McDaniel or Shanahan or, whoever, one of his guys, and he winds up being the defensive coordinator there, okay? 'Cause he's got a lot of his buddies are, head coaches in the league. All of them are a lot better than him, okay? So he goes there, and he reinvents himself as, becomes the defensive coordinator for a big-time team, and he gets another head coaching job because everybody should get 2 shots at it, and he winds up being good. And then you think I'm ticked off now? Oh my God! But
No.
that would just drive me through the wall. I'll
No,
tell you
and
that.
it's a somewhat likely scenario because
Of course.
you're right. There's a lot of guys. I mean, certainly not that Bill failed in his first time in Cleveland. He didn't fail, but he wasn't great necessarily.
Well, he
But
got kind of, you know what? They Modell kind of pulled the rug out from under him.
He
So-
wasn't like a colossal failure, but he wasn't Bill that we know today.
No,
But you're right. A lot of times guys become really good in their second job, and it would suck if this franchise continues to hire guys as their first job, and then they go on and become successful elsewhere.
Yep. No, I that's my biggest fear with him. Really is. I gotta tell you.
Well, Joe, another Sunday, another waste of our life.
And we only got 5 more to go.
That's it. 5 more.
Let me just say, do they win another game? I know they got the Commanders coming up, and they got the Patriots. Do they win another
Yes,
game?
I'll tell you why, bro. And this actually, I'll
say
never.
yes?
I'll say yes, and I never root against our team. Like, I'm not a tanker.
No, I never do. You know I don't.
With
I rooted
that-
for them when in the Ram game that everybody kills them when they didn't get Trevor Lawrence.
No, I felt the same way. It's tough to just sit there and root against our team. But if they're playing the last game of the year against the Patriots, and we've lost 9 in a row, it would be so anticlimactic for our win to end the streak, this ungodly streak of losing to the Patriots, to end in that way, securing the Patriots, the number 2 overall pick.
Right.
It would just feel like empty. It would be the emptiest end to a streak known to man.
Do you want Rodgers to play? Because I still do.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you.
I still do until he said he wouldn't be 100%. Like, I don't want him coming back if he's 75.
No. If he can't really play, then don't come back.
Yeah, if he could really play, I'd want him back.
You don't want him. No, you don't want him right now. There's just too much bad.
What's the worst that could happen?
Him getting hurt because the offensive line is bad.
When
you
he
don't
gets
want
hurt
that.
next year, though. And
Yeah.
All right, let me just say this. Do you guys both agree that I don't care what Rodgers thinks, we got to take a quarterback in the draft next year? Do you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think that you got the difference that the Jets have to do that the Packers didn't is you just have to tell him. That's the only thing I'd handle differently. I would sit him down and say, look, Aaron, we love you. We can't wait for next year. You're 40. You're 40.
True.
Right.
How could you blame us? Because I think what the Packers did that pissed them off about Jordan Love was not taking Jordan Love. It was that he was blindsided. And in his mind, he
Jordan
does.
Love looks pretty good now, doesn't he?
Not too bad.
Last night he looked great.
So I think I would take a quarterback, but I would just make sure Aaron Rodgers isn't shocked by it. Because you don't want a moping Aaron Rodgers. That's not the last thing we want as a franchise.
All right, and last question to you guys. Does the coaching staff in Douglas, are they back next year?
Yes.
Yeah, they're going to be back.
Yeah, okay.
They're going to be back, man, because of the Aaron Rodgers cloud hovering over our franchise.
That means the coach gets another year of me going after him here.
That's right.
I don't know if he's happy with me
I'm saying
now,
if he
but
answers
what do
your
you
text messages anymore.
want? We'll see.
Thank you, Joe.
All right,
Joe.
guys, take care.
Be good,
See you.
bro.
The great Joe Benigno.